All right. Hello and welcome back after the coffee break. This is the most difficult part in each event and conference because I understand you're having wonderful conversations outside and then comes along the moderator and says, hey, we're continuing with the program. So I'm inviting everyone who's outside and who can hear there is a voice somewhere in the distance. Follow the voice because it will lead you back into the room where we will continue with our program. I understand that you probably had some really nice conversation that just got started, and you will have more time to continue those, because that's the whole point why you're here, is to have these conversations with your fellow participants. So I'm inviting you, maybe the ones who are at the door, to also just close the doors, which is always a good signal that we're going to continue, and just take your seats. I also invite you maybe to sit somewhere else this time. Maybe sit with people from a different city, not with the colleagues that you came here with. I know that's a bit daring, but just try to mingle a bit. Hello. Also the ones who are like, yeah, just finishing off my coffee, that's fine. Maybe leave it outside. And I would really need someone to close the doors. Yes, thank you. So we can actually continue. Hello and welcome. Take your time. You know, in Austria, we have this concept at universities that we actually start every university lecture CT, which is cum tempore, and refers to 15 minutes plus. So every student knows they're allowed to be 15 minutes late. And I just wanted to say this does not apply here. So we are trying to get together because we've got a bit of a program to still get through. And if we manage to close the doors behind ourselves, then we will probably also see that everyone will be with us in the room. Okay. Does anyone know this one? The people who've been to a lot of workshops might know this one. If one person, oh, thank you. One person raises the hand, and the first person who sees it raises their hand as well and keeps quiet. And if you see someone who's got their hand up, please put your hand up as well and be quiet, so that by the end of this, we will have a lot of hands up. And suddenly it's quiet. Thank you. We're probably going to play that game a few more times. So I hope you had a great break. I hope you managed to talk to someone new that you maybe didn't know before. Did you talk to anyone new? Maybe hands up? Good. Do you still remember the name of the person? Like not so many? Okay, have you already exchanged contacts with the person? Oh, here are the pro networkers. So all the ones who haven't done that, make sure to do it, because you want to come out of here with a lot of new contacts and inspiration. So in this part of the program now, we really want to turn the attention around a bit. And we really want to have you communicate a bit more amongst each other. In this upcoming journey of yours, there will be a lot of different voices. You will probably have difficult conversations and a lot of different interests involved. So I think it's quite important that we really learn to listen to each other, to hear each other, to talk to each other. And for that, I think it's important that we start small, with one person, because each collaboration also starts with two people sitting together and being willing to cooperate. So I thought, in order to get this started, I would like to play a game with you, just to get it energized a bit. Is anyone up for a game? Yes, we're still a bit timid, but okay. Good. Well, in that case, I would say I would like to play a game with you. It's called thumb wrestling. Okay? Good. I would need a slide. Exactly. So this game, how does it work? First, we need to select a partner. And again, I think for this, we need a bit more light in the audience. How do we select a partner now? As I said, maybe let's try to not always speak to the same person. I would start here at the side. Yeah, this is the moment when you have to actually put your phones away. It's like, oh my God, the moderator is looking at me. Okay, so everyone who's like here, the last person on the hand. Yeah, I know, I saw you. The last person, still someone on his phone. It's okay, you'll notice soon enough. Huh? Everyone who's sitting here on this side, the last person on this side, I would ask you now to very visually turn towards the person right next to you. Can you do that? Yes. No, just one person. So you would look at him, and you would look at the next person there, and that person would obviously turn towards the person. So you are a pair, okay? And then the third person has a back that's suddenly facing you. So the third person doesn't want to be alone. So the third person will obviously turn to the next person, and that person will look back, and you are a pair. Okay? Do you get the method of this? Okay, so we continue with this all the way. So if you see a back turn to you, turn to the next person. All right? All the way, all the way, all the way. Okay, oh, perfect. It's going well. And then we just go over the aisle. If you have a person on the other side, that's okay. And then you have to reach a point where you continue doing this on this side. So you do the same. You turn. You've got your pair, your pair, your pair. Okay. Beautiful. Yes, again, I'm playing this game again. Everyone who sees the raised hand raises their hand again and is quiet. I'm just waiting for everyone to get this. Okay, perfect. So I understand everyone has found a partner. This is not the moment to discuss your new relationship. It's just for you to have someone. Okay, good. I obviously need a partner to play this as well. Tom, could you just come up on stage and show how we're going to do this? Please give an applause for Tom. Also for lots of other reasons, but since you're now helping me here. So what do you do with your partner? First thing you do with your partner is obviously you shake hands. I understand COVID-wise that's a bit weird for all of us, but you can disinfect later, okay? So just shake your hand. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take both our hands and we're going to interlock our fingers like this, okay? So you can actually pull a bit against each other, right? Okay, yeah, doing well, good. Okay, and then you put your fingers, your thumbs together just like this, okay? So both your thumbs are touching, okay? Right. So the goal of this whole thing, this whole game, is that each of us wins as many points as possible, okay? How do I make a point? You're going to have to let me do this now, okay? I'm going to take my thumb and pin down Tom's thumb. First point for me. Okay, got it. Thank you. How are you going to make a point? Try. Yeah, try harder. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Try not to break any bones or tear any clothes, okay? The goal is that each of you makes as many points as possible. What else? There's no talking. Difficult one for you. No talking. You start and stop on my signal, and you keep count of your individual score, okay? Good. I'll just take my little countdown here, and I will give you a few seconds. Are you ready? Okay. Ready, steady, go! Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop! Wow, I love it. You're all really excited about it already. Okay. Okay. I got the impression that went quite well. There was a lot of energy in the room. Okay, now let's have a look at the scores. And again, maybe a bit light in the audience so we can actually see each other. Okay, so who has 20 points or higher? Okay, 15 points or higher? Okay, well, okay, I'll try it the other way around. 0 to 1 point? Okay, 1, 2, 3 points? Huh. Interesting. Okay, because the goal of the game was to make as many points as possible, right? But almost no one managed. And what I saw you doing was this kind of, some kind of fight there. And in the end, no one really made any points. But if we look at the rules again, nothing in here said that you couldn't collaborate. It even says, select a partner. Oh, but now you're going to be like, but hang on. And I have to confess, you're not bad people. I set you up a bit for this. Because, I said, let's do a game. It's called thumb wrestling. And we all know labeling matters. I also showed you how I can be really aggressive in this game. And I even made a joke that you shouldn't break any bones. So don't you worry, it's a trap that a lot of us fall into. But it's also a perfect metaphor for how we are wired. When we are told we should win, we think the other one has to lose. And by that, no one really wins. Whereas in a collaboration, both parties could win. So with this in mind, I would like to play a game with you. It's called thumb wrestling. You need a partner. I understand you already have that. The goal is that each of you individually makes as many points as possible. There is no talking. You start and stop on my signal, and you keep count of your own score, okay? So let's do this again. I'll get my countdown here. Are you ready? All right. Ready, steady, go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. All right. So let's have another look at the score. Who's got 15 points? 20 points or higher? Oh. And now you have a look around. Wasn't that interesting? That suddenly what I saw you doing was this. You're just trying to see how fast your thumb can go. And that is a beautiful metaphor for how collaboration works. In the end, collaboration is the art of having your own interests in mind, whilst also trying to serve the interest of the other. And by that, both parties can actually win. Thank you for playing a game with me. And with this, I would like to continue this exchange. You already have a partner. We can keep the lights on. We're still not going to look too much at me, but more at each other. You already have a partner. And what I would like you to do now is to turn to this partner again. Hopefully, you're still kind of talking to each other, but by now you should have been able to collaborate. And you will have a few minutes each to talk about a challenge that you are facing in your city when it comes to reaching the goal of climate neutrality by 2030. It can be a personal challenge. It can be something that you and your city are struggling with right now. So the first person would start talking for about 3 minutes about that challenge, and then we switch. I will give you a signal so that the other person can talk for 3 minutes about that challenge. And you don't have to go into a conversation. It's really more about giving presence and attention to the person who's talking about their challenge right now, okay? So 3 minutes for the first person, I'll then give you a signal, then you switch, the other person talks about their challenge, and then you will get some additional time to also talk more together, okay? So with this, turn to your partner again. Just make a decision who would like to start. And I'll give you 3 minutes for this. Now be the moment for you to switch partner so the other person gets 3 minutes to talk about their challenge as well. So in case you haven't done, switch to the other partner now. So just, if you would just briefly give me your attention once more. By now I do have people who are supporting me with this. Everyone who sees the hand, maybe just turn it up so we come back to a bit of attention. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to give you one last round, and in this last round, I would like to now have you all talk to each other. And I see some also have created little groups of 3 people, but otherwise stay with your person. And just talk about how was it to listen to each other's challenges. Did you find any similarities there? Or are there any ideas where you think you can actually support each other, something that you might have already gone through or something that you're also working on? What are the kind of ideas, the advice that you can give to each other to support each other or maybe even to collaborate? I'll give you a few more minutes to discuss that in your teams, okay? All right. Thank you so much for engaging in those conversations. And once again, let's try to finish our sentence and come back with our attention to the room. I understand there is a lot that you would like to continue discussing, and I think that is great because you will have more time for this. Now I would just like you, after you've talked about those challenges and you've exchanged it with your colleagues and you might have talked about solutions, something new, something surprising maybe, my question is, How do you feel about being part of the mission now? How did that change through this little exercise? And for that, I would like you to go to Slido. Maybe if we could just see the code again. You could scan the QR code or just go to slido.com, put in that number. Here we go. Was that the same? I suppose so. And there you will find this question. How do you feel about being part of the mission right now? And just put in one word, so we get a bit of an understanding of what are the sentiments, what are the feelings that we've got in the room right now. And until you do so, maybe is there anyone who'd also like to share with us? Here, I'm just going to come down to you. And we've also got a second mic in the back. Any kind of sentiments, any feelings, how that was for you that you would like to share with everyone? So I understand everyone's on the phone, and that's, of course, because I asked you to be on the phone. That's fine. I forgive you for that. Anyone who'd also like to share? Just a brief comment on how that felt for you. Like, everyone's looking at their phones now? Okay, in that case, I go back, and I see you all look excited. It's very challenging. I see a little great going to the moon. Europeanish. Okay, we are already making up new languages together. That is good. Happy, good, excited, awesome, great, optimistic. Yes, optimistic. Hopeful, ambitious, excited, challenging, inspire, proud, good, glad, flabbergasted. I love that one. Really challenging, but just do that. We do have someone who's frustrated. I hope you find a lot of conversation with people who are excited and hopeful and inspired, because there seem to be a lot in this room, responsible, nervous, clueless, but also brave and happy. And I would say, please give yourselves a big round of applause for being able in this last 30 minutes to listen to each other and make your own voices heard. Thank you so much to you. And with this, I would like to continue by zooming out a bit more and get a bigger picture of other initiatives and other programs that are out there that you might be able to link to or collaborate with, since we just talked so much about collaboration. And for this, we have invited correspondents from other new projects and organizations to come to our news desk and tell us a bit more about who they are, what their visions are, and how their visions can actually link with this mission, how you can be able to learn from each other or even collaborate with each other. And for this, I invite to me on stage to talk about the mission innovation, the urban transition mission, Rosalinde van der Vliers. She's the director of the Clean Planets Directorate of the DG Research and Innovation at the European Commission, and also the deputy mission manager of Climate Neutral and Smart Cities mission. I invite together with her to represent the new European Bauhaus, Xavier Trousseau, who's the head of the new European Bauhaus unit at the Joint Research Center, and once again on stage with me to represent Repower is Matthew Baldwin, who you already met today, the Deputy Director General for Energy of the European Commission. Please give it up for the three of them.
He's running late,
I just heard Matthew is coming a bit late, but I invite you to just start it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me just first of all say, wow, this is really, really a moment that we have been dreaming of for actually some years now. And I just think it's incredible to have all of you in this room. I mean, the room is green. It's called Blue Point, but at least the room inside here, we are all very green. And it's really my big honor to talk to you about the international dimension of the European Cities mission. I'm actually the vice chair of the Mission Innovation Steering Committee, which is hosting this mission, but I'm also the deputy mission manager of the European mission. Well, I'm here first to explain to you why we would like also the European mission to go global. But I mean, looking at all of you, I mean, who needs some explanation of why we also need to go global? Please raise your hand. Xavier, maybe? No? Okay, very good. Now, I think we're all aware of the fact that our climate problems do not stop at our European borders. We are all aware that we had an IPCC report that basically concluded that we are in code red for humanity. We all know that many people across the world live in cities, that cities account for 65% of energy consumption and 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions. But we also know, and this is much more important, that cities are uniquely placed to lead the way and to inspire. Because of course we do not only need, the technical innovative solutions, we also need behavioral change. And who are best placed to also help us to motivate our citizens living in the cities to change their behavior, to have different modes of transport, and to live in a different way. So I'm really very pleased that we have this international dimension on our radar, and basically we would like to build this international dimension of the European Cities mission in 3 steps. The first step, and you're all very aware, and I'm also very happy that actually this morning over coffee, I spoke to a few representatives from cities that are part of the association countries or countries that hopefully soon will associate to our Horizon Europe program. So basically, we have 12 cities from 8 association countries, and many of them are also in the room and online with us, ranging from Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Iceland, Israel, Montenegro, I'm looking at my paper here, Norway, Turkey, and the UK and Iceland. So the mission actually has already this built-in, international dimension with the fact that we have these cities from these associated or soon to hopefully be associated countries to Horizon Europe. So the second step we are taking in order to build out the international dimension of the European mission is that we will be establishing a global knowledge center. And with this global knowledge center, we really want to make sure that we can have an international outreach of the European mission, that we will also be able to accelerate knowledge exchange beyond the European borders, and also we will developing a varied toolbox of solutions, learning also from cities outside of the European Union. And with this knowledge center, we really want to accelerate the learning, but also accelerate replicability, because it's very important to be able to replicate solutions that have been adopted by certain cities. And we also want to make sure that we can scale up these solutions so that we can really be learning from front-runner experiences. So in this global knowledge center, we basically will develop the networking possibilities. We also will develop funding opportunities, because there are also actually funding opportunities available for cities that are on the pathway to climate neutrality beyond the European borders. And of course, it will be very important to exchange knowledge about solutions. Now, the third step we are taking in order to build the international dimension of the cities mission is through the urban transition mission that has been launched under the umbrella of mission innovation at the COP26 by our Commissioner Timmermans. Now, in the beginning, there were some people that were a bit confused and said, mission innovation, mission, what is this? We have our European missions. And then I told my colleagues, don't worry, imitation is the best form of flattery. So it's really good that we have this urban transition mission, which is basically the internationalization. And there we want to work, starting to work in the first step with 50 pilot cities across the globe that will really demonstrate how we can put clean energy and renewable energies at the core of these urban transitions. So we will be working together in this mission with really exciting organizations. Leading with us are the Global Covenant of Mayors. I'm sure you're all very well familiar with the Global Covenant of Mayors. And also with JPI Urban. And JPI Urban actually has already launched a call for cities under this mission innovation mission. It closed in June. And I think it will be a very great opportunity. There will be more funding opportunities to come also under the context of this mission. Then we're also working with organizations such as the International Energy Agency, IRENA, the UNFCCC Global Innovation Hub and ANOL, and also we have a growing number of member countries that are joining. For the moment, we have India, Chile, Sweden and Austria, and we are in conversation of additional countries to also join us in this mission. So next to the activities of the Global Knowledge Exchange Center, there will be an annual innovation summit that will be organized in the context of this urban transition mission starting next year. And this will be really a unique opportunity for cities to demonstrate global leadership and also, of course, to make sure that we will have a marketplace for networking, for exchanging knowledge, and to make sure that we as European cities can really be at the forefront, leading the international way towards climate neutral cities. So there are two other very interesting events coming up already this year. I mean, this is of course by far the most interesting event, but at the end of this month, there will also be the World Urban Forum in Katowice, which is organized by UN Habitat. And for those of you in the room who will also plan to attend the World Urban Forum, I really would invite you to get in touch with me or the team, the Cities Mission team, because it would be a great moment to connect and to network and to tell you a bit more about this urban transition mission. And then the other very important moment for the urban transition mission will be taking place in Pittsburgh in September, where Mission Innovation and the Clean Energy Ministerial will take place. And there the urban transition mission will be announcing concrete actions that are being or will be implemented under the urban transition mission. So I would like to stop here. I know that we are here between you and your lunch break, but thank you very much for your attention. Let's go global and let's go climate neutral. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Xavier Troussard. I'm responsible for the New European Bounce in the Commission. And my first word would be words of congratulations. Congratulations to have made it to the cities mission. I think there was a huge competition, and you're setting new standards with your ambition and your commitment. And I think that's a very important and promising development. You're starting here with your first physical meeting, a journey of a community, which is a community of doers and a community of learners. And in the New European Bounce, if there's something in which we believe strongly, is the power of the communities. I don't know whether some of you were in Brussels over the weekend or even before, but we just finished the New European Bounce Festival, the first one. And we've been even, I would say, overwhelmed by the energy of the community we've been able to gather and activate under the roof of this initiative. We had more than 220 side events beyond the events organized in Brussels and online. And we've been for 4 days hearing a lot of very inspiring visions, experience, projects, and very energetic people. So we're full of energy. We have a lot to digest in the coming days, but that was a great moment. And I think we simply want to invite you because you have set your ambitions on, I would say, in our compass, the sustainability axis. And our strong belief is that in any of the steps you will have to make to reach your goal, if you ask yourself what I can gain if at the same time I'm looking at the social dimension, I'm looking at the cultural dimension, we can get more for people. And we can make sure that reaching our climate goals is also a benefit for all and an improvement of the quality of life of all citizens. So that's the invitation, is just to join. And I know that many of you are already in their plans considering that you cannot achieve your climate target without looking at those other dimensions. So how now can we work together on this ambition? And I can just point a few perhaps elements of the toolbox we are going to jointly mobilize with the mission to help realizing this ambition of an integrated transformation of our spaces, cities, and experience for citizens. The first thing we believe will be needed is a set of elements that help us to define our ambitions. You have clearly defined and committed your ambition to climate, but when it comes to individual projects, from changing a public bench, developing a public space, developing or regenerating buildings, or developing things at the scale of a neighborhood, what does it mean getting more circular? What does it mean becoming regenerative? What does it mean being inclusive, reaching out to the people that are perhaps less engaged or more vulnerable? What does it mean to be culturally relevant, to invest strategically on the cultural assets to build meaning into the transformation and a sense of belonging as a result for citizens? So we are working in the European Bounce on the European Bounce Compass. We expect to be able to share it publicly in September and to get reactions from the doers that will help us to improve it. And we want to have better definitions, but also a lot of examples. And we'll continue to collect examples because that's the way to communicate what it means on the ground. So that's the element of guidance. We are also expecting that from this compass, we will develop individual assessment frameworks that will be fit to different types of projects. Because of course, you do not assess in the same way a concrete project of a building or a concrete project of a social housing district, for example. And here we want to create more specific assessment frameworks, and we are ready to work with you on that. Second element is about the method, because for us, the way to achieve the transformation is as important as the transformation goal. And if there's something we share with the mission as a philosophy, is that participation is fundamental, and that you cannot achieve meaningful transformation without embarking in the transformation or even being led in the transformation by the citizens that are affected by the transformation. So on this, I think jointly with the mission, we have mobilized a fantastic tool, which is the Craft platform. And you can ask Annemie and her team to raise. And you will meet them during these days. But it's a fantastic tool that will work first with 3 sandbox cities, Amsterdam, Bologna, and Prague, but as a way to then recruit, and there will be a call launch around mid-June, if I understand. They will recruit a cohort of cities to work with. And the idea is to support the cities in developing this methodology that allows to make the transformation NEB, to nebbish your transformation and to boost your ambitions along the 3 axes of the European Bounce, and to work in particular on the participation dimension. So very important, the Craft project. We will work also in making the right linkages between the Craft project and other capacity building initiatives that are taken by under other roof. Under the cohesion policy, for example, we have colleagues from DG Regio that have created a dedicated capacity building that will work with another network of 20 cities. We'll make sure that under the roof of the European Bounce, these things are well communicating and that the learnings will be available for all the cities. That's very important. The third thing is the access to the European Bounce community. We have gathered since the beginning of our journey more than 500 partners. And the interesting thing is about the heterogeneity in this community. We tend to live in rather narrow communities of people that look the same, think the same. Here, under the roof of the European Bounce, you have from grassroots organizations to UN networks, and from the arts and architecture and design to education and social transformation. So here you can bump into people you would not bump into in other communities. And that's, we believe, one of the ingredients of getting new great ideas. Beyond those partners, we are now inviting cities, regions, ministry to join us as friends, together as businesses. So we will work on enriching the community with new types of actors. Why? Because we want them to work together on concrete projects in the European Bauhaus laboratory, the NEB lab. We want that whenever you see something which is missing, you don't wait for a call for proposal coming from wherever, but you start working on the quality of the project together on a cooperative way, and that you make such a nice project so irresistible that it will happen because we will aggregate around it the people that make it happen. So we have started, we have a few projects here. We are working on new projects. We were discussing even during the festival about a project to help thinking the reconstruction of Ukraine. Many different concrete ideas have emerged during the festival. So if you have ideas for cooperation where you need people in different networks to think with you about a particular issue, the NEB Lab is the space where you can really develop it and make it happen. And last thing is that under the European Bauhaus roof, we try also to work with all services of the Commission to look at how we can bring some support through different calls. And we try to bridge between the level of the individuals and the community. And for example, we recently launched, and unfortunately already closed, a call for co-creation between citizens and local authorities about public spaces. So very small interventions, up to the lighthouse demonstrators that you heard about, that we selected under the mission, and that will join the community so that we enrich the mutual learning. Yeah? So that's also something you can look at, the tools that we're going to mobilize over time. But so you're really invited to join. I think the logic of the mission and the logic of the new European Bauhaus can really work together very strongly, and that the tools that have been developed can also cooperatively make sure that the learnings, which is the important thing, are shared and spread. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier. Is my microphone still live? So thank you very much. It's great to be able to follow you, because I just wanted to say how much I appreciated going to the festival this weekend and to spread the city mission gospel to the new European Bauhaus community. And I think exactly from what you say, we're going to work more and more closely together. I was very struck, for example, in the response to the call for lighthouse projects, just how many calls came from cities, many of them located in this room. So I think this is a work in progress, and thank you very much for everything you've done to help the City Mission from your post in the New European Bauhaus. Look, the last item on our news desk, I wasn't make a noise like a news flash. And I'm recognizing, as Rosalind has politely warned me, that I'm standing between you and lunch, which is a dangerous place to be, especially for those of our northern cities, which like to have their lunch at 10:30 in the morning. So I shall be very brief, but I'm here to brief you on the Repower EU initiative, which is indeed my new life as of last week. And I think it's an important part of the context for you. And I think in the different ways the news items we brought you here today are to show just how many tools we can use and you can use to drive this overwhelming mission forward. It reminds us that the context in which we work is not a static one. Last year, I think it felt that the overwhelming focus was on climate change in the era of COVID. I think now we have a huge energy price surge. We have renewed fears about energy security, unleashing, let's not exaggerate, but the potential for a social and economic crisis, and of course, both triggered by Russia's appalling aggression against Ukraine, which is why we've come forward with this Repower EU plan. We need now to take action, to end our dependence on Russian fossil fuels, which, let's be clear, are being used by the Russians as an economic and political weapon against our citizens, and which cost EU taxpayers nearly 100 billion euros a year. That's what I'm going to be working on in our new energy department, which is why I'm leaving with a heavy heart the city's mission. My message to you today is use the full potential in this initiative, because it's going to help you get there. Why? Firstly, very quickly, we have the Save Energy plan, based on very close cooperation with the International Energy Agency, by the way, to promote small changes to our daily consumption habits. You heard Executive Vice President Timmermans stress the point of this. Energy savings are the quickest and the cheapest way to address the current crisis, to reduce the bills, and indeed we hope that just on the mobility world, I've also left behind now the current measures about using cars less, walking more, using bikes more. All of these together could cut oil and gas demand by 5%. Back to the member states. Member states are being urged to use fiscal measures. That's for you to use to encourage energy savings, reduce VAT rates on energy efficient heating systems and so on. Again, a terrific vehicle to get your citizens thinking about energy savings. In this context, please take a close look at the Cities Energy Savings Sprint proposed on the 19th of May with the Covenant of Mayors. If you want more information, Eero, stand up and take a bow. The man who's connecting up the Covenant of the Mayors with the climate mission, thank you. Great job. He's available. You can ruin his lunch by asking him questions about how to join up with the plan. That's on energy savings. On energy efficiency targets, we're driving those up from 9 to 13%. This, of course, goes in hand with the renovation wave, which so many of you are already embracing, driving up that renovation rate of buildings in our cities. We know that's one of your key priorities as you get to 2030. We will be removing subsidies, or we're proposing to remove subsidies on fossil fuel-based boilers by 2025. So that's, I think, going in the same direction. And last but not least, we want to make a big further push on the share of renewable energy in the mix, raising the target to 45% by 2030. There's a new solar strategy. You just heard already from Vice President Timmermans about the European solar rooftop initiatives. A legally binding obligation for solar installations on the roofs of new buildings and some existing public buildings. Doubling the target for solar, doubling the deployment rate for heat pumps, and we've also put out a recommendation, going back to what I was saying earlier about regulation, to tackle slow and complex procedures for permitting procedures for major renewables projects such as solar and wind. And last but not least, and under the control of Rosalind, we're making another big push on hydrogen, another fuel of the future, which is going to, I think, come on stream earlier for your use. The toolbox just got bigger in all of these different areas. I urge you to use it to the fullest extent possible. I think I can speak for the whole Commission when I say we are absolutely determined not to go back to the situation which existed before the 24th of February. That has passed. The invasion of Ukraine, that's when it happened. Europe is in this for the long haul. We want to deliver on the Green Deal. We want to get out of Russian energy, and we want to help you, last time for everything, deliver on your brilliant ambition of being climate neutral by 2030. Let's have lunch. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much to the three of them. Thank you. Before we have lunch, I have one more announcement, but please give up one more applause to the three of you. Thank you. So really the last announcement before lunch is how it continues after lunch. And we are going to continue with the Mission City launch sessions. And this is really the space where you're supposed to connect more with your fellow citizens and dive deeper into the important topics that we've touched upon here today already. How is this going to work? Everyone has a badge. If you have a look on your badge, you do find a letter in a colored point. Okay, so what does that mean? Everyone has been allocated a letter and a color, and the color and the letter basically stand for the zone where you will be in. So depending which is your favorite kind of brain region, you can either concentrate on the color and more the creative part, more right-brained, or more you numbers, letters person, then you can orientate yourself on the letter. It doesn't make any difference. So the ones who have A, B, C, and D as a letter will be in this room after the break. And the other ones are going to make their way to the other area. There, you will find 4 tables in your own zone. And those 4 tables represent 4 types of workshops. In the time that we're given, you will be able to join 3 of those 4 workshops. So this is the only decision you have to make. Which of the 4 do I want to pick? You're going to have to leave 1 out, but you can choose freely. You will then have around 35 minutes in each of those workshops, and I will indicate when we switch to the next ones. So what are the workshops? We've got 4. First, courageous honesty. So what's really hardest about reaching climate goals, and what does that mean for the mission? So this is the area where you can really talk about the things that might be a bit difficult to talk about, but they are important to tackle. Co-benefits, how can you frame and achieve multiple benefits of climate action? The third one, by and for citizens. So how can you engage people and diverse communities in reaching climate goals? And the fourth one is called getting to know you. So there you can really talk about the climate achievements that you've already reached and that you are proudest of, so you can actually get to know each other a bit more on that. And with this, I really hope that our northern cities haven't starved yet and our southern cities have had enough of a gap between breakfast and lunch, because now it is lunchtime. Make sure to find another person to talk to that you don't know yet. Just ask them which city they are from. Make sure to remember their names and exchange contacts. Have a great lunch break and see you again in an hour.